lugging something in our mind constantly, it's like exactly like holding this phone on my palm non-stop. It's going to start affecting my wrist. PTSD, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder, just so much in there, just like this all the time. This is exactly what I'm doing to my mind, exactly what I did to my palm. My memories, my anxieties, my past impressions is doing this.
Swamiji, I am one of the survivor of 2611 at Taj.
Oh.
I was a hostage 15 years ago. I took 6 months of counseling and I was traumatized. Now, taking that clue forward, most of us in this room would like to know about how does one address the issues relating to daily life of stress and trauma, and would two things that we all would like to take away from here, Swamiji. Thank you very much.
If I might ask all of you, what is the weight of this phone? Like approximately? 200 grams? 250 grams maybe? Imagine if I were to hold this phone on my palm, just about 250 grams. But if I were to hold it for the next 20 minutes of my answering questions, probably start hurting my wrist a little bit. If I were to hold it for the rest of the evening without putting it down, I'm going to really start hurting my wrist a lot. And if I were to hold this phone on my palm for the rest of the week without putting it down, my wrist will probably start getting a little numb, isn't it? Now, it's not so much about the weight of the phone, it's for how long am I carrying it on my palm, right? Our past memories, our stresses, what's happened to us, is like something that we are lugging in our mind constantly. It could be a small thing, it could be a big thing. But when we are lugging something in our mind constantly, it's like exactly like holding this phone on my palm non-stop. It's going to start affecting my wrist. If I'm going to think about this relative of mine, friend, this book, the stories in my book, Energize Your Mind, the second book, where I talk about how this relative of mine came up on my father's funeral day. My father's body still lying there, and this gentleman says that I was the cause of my father's death in front of everybody. Now, who has gotten an insult like that? Where you're called the cause of your father's death in a public forum, and my father's body is not even cremated yet. Now, every single time I see this guy, you know how it becomes like a stimulus, a trigger to bring back those past memories? An entire chapter in the book is about dealing with these memories, right? PTSD, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder, just so much in there, just like this all the time. This is exactly what I'm doing to my mind, exactly what I did to my palm. My memories, my anxieties, my past impressions is doing this. Now imagine, you can't really take it off. Will you be able to take the 2611 experience off your mind completely? Never. Will I be able to take out that statement that this gentleman made about my father's death, saying I was the cause of my father's death? Never. And each one of us has our own stories and memories and impressions that we have in our mind. We're not going to be able to take it out of our minds ever. Somebody hurt you deeply and there was a heartbreak somebody had in a relationship. How is a person going to take it off from their mind? You cannot take it off completely, ladies and gentlemen. But I know one thing. I can at least occasionally keep it down if I can. That'll make my wrist feel a little better because it's going to come back up again. Here I've consciously chosen to put the phone down. It's not jumping back on my palm. But in my mind, I might consciously try to purge my thoughts out, but it's going to come back in my mind again. But even if for those 20 minutes, an hour, a day, if I can keep it away, my mind is feeling relaxed and better. Which is precisely why a mental detox is extremely essential and imperative to be able to keep a stable frame of mind. And how does one detox one's mind? There's so many ways to do it. Meditation, of course, is one way to do it. But one very, very, very powerful way to do it is journaling. Journaling is an extremely powerful way of pouring out everything that you have in your mind on paper Absolutely doing it free flow. No editing, no censoring. If I get a swear word, I'm writing swear word there. Just make sure whoever you're using that swear word for doesn't get the paper in their hand. That's all you'll need to make sure. So you burn it, tear it, throw it, whatever you need to do, but let it come out. There's tremendous power and potential in taking this out, right? And again, journaling doesn't ensure it's not going to come back up again. But the very fact that you have a relaxed mind, even if it comes back, you're in a better position to deal with it because you've taken it off for a while. Now imagine if the phone were on your hand and you were just not able to take it off at all, even after journaling. I'm just going to hold this microphone like this. You mind doing that? Thank you so much. If the phone is like this, imagine if somebody else puts a palm down there and shares that burden along with you. Now your wrist is taking half of the weight and somebody else is taking half of that weight. That is the power of confiding, opening your heart, sharing your troubles with somebody and seeking help. You know what? The one thing that I always love to say, we don't have to struggle alone. Do we have to struggle alone? Why are we in our own shells? Why are we thinking I have to do it myself? There is help available if we seek it. Seek and thou shalt find. Knock and the door shall open. All right. I tell the story often of a gentleman who had a 5-year-old girl, his daughter, and both of them were walking on a road, like in a countryside road, and there was a massive storm, and there was a huge tree that had fallen on the road. Huge, humongous, like huge trunk. And this little 5-year-old said to her dad, Dad, do you think I can move this tree away? The father said, yes, darling, if you use all your strength. So the girl went and gave every bit of her energy to push the tree. Obviously, the girl was a 5-year-old, the tree was huge. It wouldn't move. She came back to the father and said, Dad, I can't move it. The father said, darling, I told you, if you use all your strength, you can most certainly move the tree. She went again, tried, she couldn't, exasperated, frustrated. She came back to the father and said, Dad, I can't do it. The father said, look, darling, I told you to use all your strength and you're only using yours. Is your strength alone all your strength? No. I am here as your father, right? You could have turned to me and said, Dad, can you help me? I didn't ask you to use your strength. I asked you to use all your strength. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of times we are only using our strength to deal with a lot of our issues. Let us start using all our strength. And in that all our strength, start identifying those people, those individuals who can really help us deal with what we are going through. So yes, journaling, meditation can help us detox, but also support systems can help us deal with it. इसलिए मैं कई बार एक हिंदी में मेरा बहुत फेवरेट शेर है, कई कॉन्क्लेव्स में सुनाया मैंने, इसको आज भी सुनाई देता हूँ, बहुत बढ़िया अच्छा लगता है मुझे. कहते हैं कि छोटे से दिल में गम बहुत है, छोटे से दिल में गम बहुत है, जिंदगी ने दिए जख्म बहुत है, कब की मार डालती है जालिम दुनिया हमें, कम वक्त इन दोस्तों की दुआओं में दम बहुत है. राइट, that support system is something that will probably help us deal with what we are going through way better than if we were to struggle alone.